He's muted.
Yeah.
So I was muted. Just got done peeling, so it's doing well.
My arms are still peeling. My face stopped peeling, but my arm. How's your? Did you get rid of your mask tan yet?
Yeah, the raccoon mask is gone.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I think we're all recovering.
Yeah, but Ryan had that the face
Yeah.
mask tan going. Remember, yours wasn't as bad as his.
No, my forehead though was.
Oh my God, my face! I had under my eyes were like peeling so bad. Like look at my arms. I have like the farmer tan going still. But we couldn't have asked for a better weather that day.
Yeah, it was a
You got
perfect
that
day.
right.
And I had a blast driving my car around the racetrack afterwards. I tried to go.
My
faster.
only regret was not wearing shorts.
Yeah. I was going to wear a dress, but then I was afraid if we had to climb over, and I'm glad I didn't because we did have to climb over.
Yeah, we could have used some kind of ladder system platform.
Blue Ridge did a nice job on it.
It was nice.
I've gotten a lot of
I
positive
didn't get any
feedback.
negative feedback, so
I got a lot of positive feedback from most people.
yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, my takeaway from the whole experience, I really felt the students were genuinely appreciative of the opportunity between the thank yous and the tears and the waves. They were very grateful, and that's what it was there for.
Yep.
Sometimes as a parent, you get to see your kid when they get a diploma. You know?
Oh.
Yes, Maura. No, I'm at a board meeting. You have to call Daddy. I think so.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are
Hey,
you?
Sharon.
My apologies, a dash to make it home, but I made it home.
Hello.
Are we all here?
We are. We are all here.
Wonderful. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Okay, Sharon Glasgow,
Here.
George Andrews,
Here.
Rebecca Bear.
Here.
And Wayne Roner.
Here.
Pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the
Of the
United States
of
of
Republic,
America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda for June 22nd, 2020?
Rebecca makes a motion.
So moved.
Approval of minutes. Motion to approve the minutes for the May 18th, 2020 meeting.
I just need revisions
Sure.
in order for me to approve.
Which section, Wayne?
Page 2. Policy 000 was not written according to what the policy committee was looking for. In your board agenda, we did not remove, give me a second here. There's still a conflicting sentence. On page 41 of the board agenda, administrative regulations are not part of board policy and may be altered by the superintendent without board action. That sentence needs to be removed. The minutes on page 2, policies requested for review by the committee A, policy 00.
And Wayne, I have a question. Was the verbiage changed somewhere else, or is there a suggested verbiage?
Yeah, the suggested verbiage was that we were looking to imply that administrative regulations are part of board policy. That's how they are, based upon, and shall not be altered by the administration without board action, because if you go back to 003, give me a second to do that. The section 2 of policy 003.
You know what, when you look at the first, and actually 003, the portion that we discussed in our last meeting is on page 2 at the bottom. And we noted some changes to the language there, but I think the first sentence might be alluding to what you're discussing. I'm gonna read it. The board may assume jurisdiction over controversies or disputes arising within the school district, not really, concerning any matter of which the board has authority granted by the statute. It doesn't, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that was the discussion, just so that everyone understands. That's why I'm bringing this up. Chris Brown advised the committee a month ago regarding 003 and section 3 that Sharon just read. It had nothing to do with policy 000, is what I'm saying. And the policy that we're adopting tonight is, again, they did not solve the issue I was looking to solve, and that's not how the policy committee moved forward on that when we made our motion a month ago.
Okay, Wayne, I'm sorry, Wayne, after talking with Chris Brown, this is what he had advised that I'd make the change to be based on what we discussed last month, that at least if in an emergency situation, administrative regs could be changed by administration, but then the board could also alter the policy once we shared it with them, but it would allow us to make changes, say, like even with
Well,
COVID-19.
then I need Chris Brown to put that in writing, because really what the school board is trying to accomplish here is that there is consistency in not following board policy. So if I have administrative regulations that are not being, they shall be reviewed and approved by the board, that's not occurring. So it's not okay that administration can alter administrative regulations without board action. It's not okay.
And that's what we're trying to do with it
Now,
was
Chris
not-
Brown, if he wants to give legal advice, I would certainly request that be in writing, so that he may cite specific sections of school law, but otherwise it's hearsay, and I'm well aware of what the administration's capable of doing.
Doing or not doing.
Correct. So, policy is binding on all employees. So when that does not, obviously there's a complete disregard. And in order for the school district to move, this school district needs reform just like America needs reform. And this is hopefully a positive step in transparency and disclosure, which is what you'll learn every year at national and state conferences.
Is Chris here? No? I can't hear you. Are you on mute? No.
At this point, we do have it on for final approval on tonight's regular board agenda. So I guess we would have to just either pull it or make a motion at that meeting to either bring it back to policy committee if.
Why do Why did we put it on for this month's, this committee meeting?
Add it to the agenda so we can get it advertised. We certainly can do that.
Well, we didn't have it prior to getting what we have in front of us now. But if there's an opportunity for further discussion, we could rescind it and then have a discussion about it and bring it back. And I understand exactly what you're saying, Wayne. I think the wording is not
What we
open
discussed. Yeah.
in terms of us being able to manage this. So, and not sure of the proper wording, but what I would like to do is can we rescind policy number 000, board policies, procedures, and administrative regulations, just so that we can have further discussion?
Or do we have to vote it down?
I'm sorry, I don't know if it's me.
Was that George?
No, I said, can we remove it from the agenda, or do we have to vote it down and then re-look at it?
Well, this wasn't necessarily on our current agenda. We went back to the previous meeting's notes to look at this one because Wayne referenced it. So 000 is not a policy that we were intentionally looking at tonight. So it's not on our agenda.
It's not on our agenda, it's on our board agenda.
Right, it's on the.
And because we're approving the minutes, this is why we're having this discussion.
So we have to pull it from the board agenda.
Or do we vote it down as stated and then revisit it? That's what I'm asking.
No, I think we have to pull it. No, I think we want to pull it from the agenda.
Well, that needs to really happen because there's a contradiction in that paragraph. That's what, there really is. And,
reiterate just on our behalf, can we rescind policy number 000 to have further discussion regarding the administrative regulations a sentence, the one that's in quotes, so that the board can have further discussion on this particular policy?
Yeah, Sharon, I think we have to let Rich know, and he has to pull it from the agenda.
Okay.
We'll have that discussion in executive session.
This is
And
Rich.
thank you.
Oh, Rich is here. There you go.
Yeah, I'll just quickly say that what we can do is at the time that we adopt the agenda, we remove 000 from the board agenda and we just don't vote on it. That takes care of it right there.
Perfect.
I didn't see you there, Rich.
Thanks, Wayne. Much appreciated.
Yeah. So, getting back to the minutes, I'm not in favor of voting on these minutes without those corrections because the comment Chris Brown made was respect to that section Sharon read to us minutes ago from 003. And it really had nothing to do with policy 000. I just want to make sure that's clear.
Right now, we're focusing on 000.
I understand that, and I'm just trying to correct the minutes.
So in terms of approving the minutes, and I'm asking this question, can we approve the minutes and note that we're rescinding policy for discussion from the previous May 18th minutes for policy number 000. All other items.
Well, I'm not really sure I understand what you're saying there when you say rescind. I certainly don't want that to be interpreted that policy 000 still in
Pull
force.
it back for further discussion.
We're going to amend it.
All right.
I have a question on policy 003, Sharon.
Yes, what's your question?
It says the board may assume jurisdiction. Should we not say shall assume jurisdiction over controversies?
That was the Chris
Well, I
Brown.
remember we had discussion about those small words, but having big meaning.
Yes, we did. That's why I was asking, shouldn't it be shall? Because that puts a whole
Well,
different.
no, remember Chris Brown said we didn't want to have to see over the little things.
That's the comment Chris Brown made. That's where that comment belongs in C.
Right, because Chris Brown said that it says may rather than shall there, because if it said shall, that means every little issue we'd
Right.
have to make a decision on. And we
Well,
thought
moving-
as a committee that we didn't need to make a decision on every little issue because then we're getting in the weeds way too much.
Right.
And that's
Well,
why I remember
And the
that's
reason
why
why there was a discussion is because we are dealing with interpretation, because there was a request for a video for the basketball fight. And, you know, and when I read school law and I read school policy, everyone on the board needs to understand that you have access to the information, is what I want to make perfectly clear.
I want to make sure that there's no further clarification needed, George, based on your question regarding policy 003. Do you understand why the may in lieu of shall at this point?
I understand the difference, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And I always understood the difference.
I didn't. It was helpful last month. I own it. I like the clarification. It helped. So in terms of the minutes, how does that work? Can we approve the minutes even though we want to pull back policy 000? Can we pull it back with an amendment to, or an addendum? Excuse me, an amendment to say that we'll
Well, the minutes can be amended, the changes can be made, and we can approve them at the following month. I just,
Or you,
wait. Go ahead.
hold on.
Sorry.
I think what you're trying to say is that Wayne is asking for changes to the actual minutes, and he needs to state in there what exactly he wants changed. You as a committee have to vote on that and accept those changes, and that becomes the official record. Right now, the official record is this. If Wayne is saying that's not what I said, then you guys need to come up with the language to say this is what I said, and you all, 4 of you, have to agree on that as a majority and agree that to change those minutes.
Perfect. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate that. So it sounds like if we look at policy number 000, the sentence kind of 3/4 of the way down, administrative regulations are not part of board policy. We want to remove the word not. Is that correct?
I believe he wants to remove that may be altered by the superintendent without board action. That's where Wayne has the problem.
And the second part too. And may, and it should be may not be altered. Is that correct? Is that the intent, Wayne?
actually, give me a second here.
I'm going to read it
Administrative
aloud.
regulations, I'm just going to jump in there. I don't think they're part of board policy. They're not our board policy. Administrative regulations are created by the administration in order to govern the school district. They're not made by us.
Correct.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
Correct, and we are supposed to approve administrative regulations, and that's not occurring, and that's a policy that's not being followed. So what I am saying, what I highlighted, is Chris Brown's comment in these minutes are in the wrong section. Chris Brown's comments belong in C, because Sharon read that section of 003. That comment is where that belongs for the minutes to be accurate.
Can you repeat, can you tell us exactly what it should say based on what you're saying? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm getting a little confused.
Chris Brown, right now, in our minutes, in subsection A.
Can we focus on policy 000? What recommended changes do you want us to review?
Well, the comment that Chris Brown advised the committee that you don't want administration to lose the flexibility to revise administrative regulations or procedures as needed, especially as witnessed recently with the COVID-19 pandemic. That statement.
See that? Do you see that on the policy? Are we looking at two different
it's not in the policy, Sharon. It's in our, it's in the yellow packet.
And I could barely hear you.
It's in the yellow packet. I believe he's talking about. If you look at not the.
Go down a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In policy requested for review by committee, section A, he's talking about.
In our minutes.
Yes. in the minutes.
Page 2.
I'm there.
Policies requested for review by the committee, subsection A. The sentence with Chris Brown does not belong in that section.
I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying.
It belongs in subsection C.
I believe he said that during both A and C. I mean, both 000 and 003.
No, the Chris
He
Brown
referenced
comment
COVID.
was for
He
003.
did, Rebecca, he did reference COVID, but he did reference it in to 000 so that in the case of the pandemic, we were able
right,
to
yeah.
change the grading policy so that we did not count the fourth marking period of the year.
Correct, I remember.
So
That's what I'm
we were
saying. He
able
did
to
both.
change that administrative regulation without first coming to the board to be able to have that happen without having to wait for a board meeting and two subsequent, where you have to post it for 30 days and then,
Right.
Agree to it. So that's why he didn't want us to lose that flexibility, but still have the board approve it
Can we,
after the
gonna
fact,
vote no
but
to the
still be
minutes.
able to move ahead. And like I said, if Chris was here, it would be great, but he did refer to it with 000 as far as
Oh, my notes don't reflect
I
that.
know.
I remember him saying it for both, but
Mhm.
I'll just vote no.
okay. All right, Sharon, let's move on.
That's fine. Are we going to,
We need to vote on the
we
minutes.
need to vote on the minutes.
A motion to approve the minutes.
I
Do
second.
we have a second?
I don't think
Sharon?
I second.
You can do a roll call on it if you want, I guess.
Okay, and how about George? Do you approve them as is? No? And Wayne? is a
No,
Okay. So it's 2-2.
motion fails.
Motion.
So we'll continue on for policies for discussion for this evening. Policy 828, fraud, and policy 829, whistleblowers. Additional content added to include Lighthouse contact information.
Now, these are also on the agenda for the regular board meeting for tonight. I just included 828 and 829 with this information in there just so that you can see what was added for the final version that you'll be approving later on this evening at the regular meeting.
Basically put it in their address, right?
We put in their email address as well as the phone numbers for both English and Spanish speaking.
All the contact information.
Yep. Nothing else changed.
Any other questions, comments, discussion regarding policy 828, fraud?
Well, the only thing that I want to discuss, and I want the new board members to know, is that the original, I have a full written copy of the board policy, and what's in this policy draft does not match up with the existing policy 828. So I think that you as a board director, Rebecca and Sharon, should be giving the true, accurate policy that was adopted in October 15, 2007.
Wayne, you know what, I would like to make a comment, just that as a board member, all being on the same, so that we could be on a level playing field, that if there's information that you want your colleagues, just as if you work with someone, you want them, because right now you're looking at something that we don't have privy to. And I want to kind of, if there's anything that I can do to stop that type of almost interruption, because it's unfair to us because we don't have access to what you have access to. And access is part of fairness.
Yes.
So in fairness, as we have future conversations, what I'm suggesting is that if we have these things that come up and we're not expecting them and we expect things not to, but just make sure that we have access to the same thing you have access to so we can all have an educated conversation.
Yeah, that's why I reached out to Rebecca and yourself today to highlight
I had
that.
an audit at work, so I couldn't free myself.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I understand that. I'm just saying that's why I called.
Yeah.
Policy
Sharon,
18
I got two
started with
questions
the
on
one
it.
before.
One on, can the board add, on section 3, my question is, can the board ask for a forensic audit? Or does it have to come from?
Yeah, we
the
already did.
superintendent?
We did that, yes.
Pardon?
We
We've
did
asked
that.
them. We did that last year, remember?
Yes, I'm looking at the way this is written. Can the board continue? I know we did last year. I'm talking about the way this is written now. Can the board ask for a forensic audit?
Yes.
I
Under
think we
did
did
number
this talk,
3.
absolutely.
And the other question I have, and it may be, it says Director of Administrative Services. Who's that?
Eric Forsyth.
Tell
Yes.
us who you are,
Oh,
George.
I thought that was Pupil Services.
He's administrative.
No,
Yes.
Brian Baddock's Pupil Services.
So
There you go.
it's
I was right. Eric is administrative.
Administrative Services?
Yes,
Okay.
Brian Baddock is
That's all I was
pupil.
trying to get
He's
clear.
administrative.
I thought it was Pupil.
He oversees that, but Brian Baddock is that.
Any further discussion, policy 828 fraud?
Well,
Let's see,
before we advertise, we need to have a discussion on the language that's in here.
Oh,
And
that's
what-
what we were
That's what's
doing.
the
What
blower before.
point do you want to discuss?
Well, how are we going to handle if the investigation deals? There used to be a section about if it's crossed out if the report involves the superintendent. Who does the employee contact? Is it human resources? Is it the compliance officer?
He would contact the Lighthouse confidentially, and then it would go to the director of administrative services as it's written right now, no matter who the complaint's on.
Okay.
And then there's an alternate. Lighthouse said when they did the presentation to us at finance, when we were looking at it, when we were asking questions, and they said if it, like, for example, if I was working for the school and I was the principal and the teacher had a complaint about me, it would never go to me. I would never know who said it. It would go to who's ever next in charge. So if it's about the superintendent, it would go to Eric. If it's about Eric, there'd be an alternate person for it to go to. So Eric would never have to handle the case.
Correct.
There's always a backup person in case that person who looks at the email and gets notified is that person. So there's always a backup person.
Correct.
That's what Lighthouse told us when they spoke to us.
And that's how it is set up.
Yeah. Because that was a question I had when I asked it during finance, but that's how they answered it to me. There's always going to be a backup person in case the primary person is the person involved in the investigation.
And is that something that's in the administrative policies?
It's
No,
Once the administrative regulations are amended, the board shall receive a copy of those for review and approval. That's the intent.
well, it says it right here. If you look at investigation, the superintendent appoints the director of administration services as the district compliance officer. The compliance officer shall receive complaints filed by Lighthouse. And they'll have the primary responsibility based on his or her judgment, but I guess we just need to make sure that there's a second person listed just in case.
Well, there is. It's
You're welcome.
human resources.
Then we're covered based on the complaint on how it works.
We're
you
completely
look
covered
more-
once we have an opportunity to review administrative regulations.
But this is
If
a
you look
policy.
two
It's not
sentences
administrative
down from that, Rebecca, there is something that says if it's the district compliance officer was involved in the complaint, then it would be forwarded to the director of human resources.
Right, so we
Yes.
have, so it says what
There
it's
is
supposed to
backup.
say. That's what I'm saying. It says what it's supposed to say, so
And
I have no problem with the way it's written.
I don't either. Any other discussion about policy 828 fraud? So that.
The only discussion I won in the minutes is that you guys did not get the original copy of the policy. That's
Right,
all.
but this was changed based on the forensic audit.
But what we have in front of us is what we'll be voting on and approving. So we can't go back. Let's just.
Well, no, I just want you to understand what's happening to you. That's all.
Right, but this was a result of the forensic audit that the previous board had ordered before Sharon and I got there, correct?
No, that's what I'm saying is that what's in my board policy is not the way the policy was originally written and adopted on 2007.
Well, it's now 2020, and this was amended, if my understanding is correct, was based on the forensic audit, based on the recommendations of the forensic auditors that came in and met with us.
Yes,
Correct.
yes. This is
Correct.
the first amendment to this policy. Yes.
Correct. And it's based on the results from the forensic
Yes.
audit, and that's why we have Lighthouse.
Yes.
Okay, so we are moving forward with this because this is what we wanted, correct?
Yes, yes. That's not the issue. That's not the issue.
Because I know the forensic auditor spoke about the policy 828 to us and why they recommended this.
No. That's not the issue. I'm looking to move. I have no problem with the amended version. I have a problem with the fact that you are not given the original language of policy 828.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
But I'm okay
Okay.
with the way it's been. So.
We're moving forward to policy number 829, whistleblower. Also includes the content from the Lighthouse contact information, recommendations from the audit. Is there any discussion?
No,
I'm glad we have a whistleblower policy.
Me too.
absolutely.
So I'll continue to move over to policy 201, admission of students.
The changes in policy 201 are based on PSBA sample language that have to do with the new compulsory school age. So that's the only changes that were put in here.
I thought that was interesting where that instead of from grade to kindergarten, it's an age, it's a number now from 6 to 18. So I was saying to myself, what happens if there's, 7 and they never made it, but interesting. It was
Yeah,
a
how
good
does
read.
that work? I was wondering the same thing.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I had no questions, but it did.
Right, and it's now based on first grade, not kindergarten. So it's basically saying they don't have to go to kindergarten. Is that correct?
That is correct. They never did.
Okay, so they need to be 5 by September 9th to go to kindergarten, or no later, right? Or they have to be 5 before September 9th to go to kindergarten,
Right?
and 6 by September 9th to go to first grade. Is that, am I understanding that right?
Yes, but it's not mandatory that one
And
has
I'm not sure
completed
of
a
the
district kindergarten program.
Okay. So they can go to, the academic learning center by Wawa for kindergarten if they want to, and that'll count as kindergarten, and they can go right to first grade from there.
Or not go at all, as long as
Or
they
not.
meet the age requirement. They have the potential to enter first grade earlier if they have completed a kindergarten somewhere, because there was a case law in Pennsylvania that determined that kindergarten, even though it's not a required grade, starts a student's compulsory attendance. So if they start kindergarten somewhere and they're already in a program, then we may have to admit them into our first grade under our normal age requirement. But you don't have to go to kindergarten in order to get into first grade.
If they complete kindergarten at 4, can they go to first grade at 5, or they have to be 6?
Sorry, I might have been speaking over you for the first part of what you said.
So if they, like, for example, say someone went to kindergarten and finished it when they were 4, and they're ready for first grade, but they're not 6 as of September 9th, they can't go to first grade.
No, if they've completed a district kindergarten program or a kindergarten program consisting of the state's required hours that was recognized, then they could be eligible, but they would still be subject to the district's admission testing, because at that point, the Supreme Court would say they have to go to school. That's one of the cases that was decided, but it doesn't mean the district has to necessarily place them in the first grade. It could be determined that they are a good fit for our kindergarten curriculum.
Okay, let's make sure I understand that. Thank you.
Yeah, in our office, we simply process the enrollments based strictly on the policy, and those decisions are deferred to the curriculum and instruction department, but we flag those so that they can look at them upon entry.
Any other questions, comments, policy?
Thank you.
Policy 223. Suspension and expulsion.
I was looking at the option choose one.
Before a qualified hearing examiner appointed by the board.
Or by a duly authorized committee of the board.
Yeah, I'm okay with the first one.
We usually do it by a committee of the board, correct?
Yes.
And why would we switch it to a qualified hearing examiner? And what is a qualified hearing examiner qualifications?
Yeah.
Good question. Don't know the answer.
To
That's
be
what I was
me.
wondering before I approve that.
The PSBA had this sample language that you could choose one or the other. In this case, I guess the appointed examiner could be Chris Brown. I believe Chris was asking whether the board wanted to still continue to do the expulsion hearings or just let Chris Brown handle that.
Go and do the hearings.
I'd like
Yes.
to do,
We would.
because I think we have a very diverse board that can give a very diverse opinion on what needs to happen.
Absolutely.
So if we could maintain the first before a duly authorized committee of the board.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then section 1326, the change on that one. Is that like a continuation of the previous policy?
You're referring to page 5, correct?
Yeah.
Page 5.
Yes, that's also had to do with the compulsory school age changes. That language changed there too.
Okay, so I'm reading that one because I was confused on that. Compulsory school age shall mean no later than age 6 until age 18. So if a kid is graduating at 19, that doesn't apply to them if they stayed back?
And even though expelled shall be. Well, this is. Well, I don't think that. Do kids still stay back with no child left behind? I thought it was more
they do.
suspension or expulsion.
I know children that are going to graduate at 19. Mine will graduate at 17, but there are those that will graduate at 19.
Can you hear me?
Graduated at 19.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my mic wasn't working for most of this meeting. To answer your question, the difference in compulsory age for a student that's expelled is the school district's obligation to provide the education at the district's expense. It ends when they meet compulsory education age, at which point a student or their family would be required to pay either a tuition to the district or for education beyond the compulsory age of 18.
So if we expel a child that's 19, basically, no offense, they're up Schitt's Creek if their parents can't afford an education for them.
Where does age 21 come into play?
When they're in the program for special education.
That's correct.
Okay.
Or when they're not special education and they just haven't achieved their diploma yet, they're eligible to attend public school through the year in which they turn 21.
Unless they get
Okay.
expelled, and then we don't have to pay for it.
Correct.
During the term of their expulsion, correct, but they would be eligible if the term ends to return to public school as long as they haven't aged out of what the law provides.
So we wouldn't let them go to the blended cyber? if they got expelled, give them that option like we do everybody else?
Blended is not an option for an expulsion. That's a
Or a
choice.
cyber, whatever.
Yeah, the cyber school isn't an option that's offered because it's a placement. That is an option that a parent can choose. But if they're older than 18, it's at their expense.
Dr. Recker, what do we do now?
We do the same thing, Sharon. We just obviously been using the age of 17 with
So we're
regards
making it
to
18.
compulsory education.
So we're just raising the age to 18 now versus 17?
Well, we didn't, the state did. So the state changed the school code and the compulsory education laws to include 18.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
That helped a lot. So there's one more, just a word change on page 6 of 6, publication of a code of student. That's fine. Any other questions regarding policy number 233, suspension and expulsion?
No, just making sure we're leaving it to before a duly authorized committee of the board rather than the other option.
Correct.
So it sounds like policies 829, 201, and 233 will be presented further as we continue to move forward. Policies postponed until this meeting, policy number 221, dress code. I'd like to say thank you for that additional information on behalf of the parents and students' perceptions and the
Yeah, this dress code looks very simple to me, the acceptable school attire, the new draft. You know, I showed it to my kids and they were okay with it. And so were their friends. So.
I also did the same in terms of what was acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Some of them were actually jumping up and down when they saw it, so. Because now they don't have to wear a collared shirt that just has to fit a certain way, which is good. You know, we allowed pants, jeans, jeggings, and leggings. You know, sweatpants, tracksuits.
Do we allow blue jeans?
Yeah, it's under pants, jeans, jeggings, leggings. Yep. It's in the
So we're gonna have to change the dress code then.
It is. It's right here. There's a draft.
It is.
Pardon?
It's
We
in
got
the
a
back
draft.
of your packet.
I got it here.
Yep.
It's a
But
draft there.
the question is going to be, it comes back to the what we've said before. Who is
But
the
there's
one
nothing
that's
to
going
really
to enforce it?
But there's nothing to really enforce. As long as they come to school in clothes that aren't showing
Well,
midriff, they're showing.
No, the issue has always been, you have one teacher say one thing, another say something else. Who's going to be the one that enforces? That's what we got to get settled. I have no problem. I don't care if we don't have any dress code, but somebody has to be responsible for enforcing it, because if you get two people saying something different, the kids are going to get confused.
George, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, there has to be a further education for the staff and administration in terms of them using their judgment. But I do think
it still has to be one person. It still has to be one person, and I don't care who it is in the school, but in charge of it, so that the kids don't, get mixed singles.
Yeah.
If they make it through second block or second period and they haven't been dress coded yet.
The what?
If they make it through first block or second block and they haven't been dress coded, then after this time of the day, you can't be dress coded.
That would be great. That's a great idea.
Well, before it used to be the homeroom teachers, but they didn't do anything. Then the other teachers would say, well, you're not decoded.
You know what? Oh, well, if that student made it through this block, cut off, you can't be in trouble anymore.
But I said, but we have to make it clear to the teachers or the principal or the administration or something who's responsible.
Right, but what I'm saying in the new dress code.
No, I don't think that, and I think that's a good point. Like, I mean, we could easily just throw out a title, a dean of students would be responsible for
Right, it should be the deep.
these types of incidents. But I think what's more important is really recognizing the need to change the culture about what we think is important.
Exactly.
I think that's the bigger opportunity. And I think that's what our parents who do faithfully attend our school board meetings and our students know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And as soon as we learn to empower them to be responsible for, their appearance, they're going to step it up. They're going to, it comes. But what happens when we create these policies, it really stagnates our children in terms of thinking critically, in terms of performing at a higher level, because it's, they're so tied down. So I think this is an opportunity. It's going in the right direction as we move forward. There's a draft here, and I don't know if everybody had a chance to review it, but please do, between now, executive session, or even the next meeting, please do look at the wording, because we definitely would love to be able to adopt and create a process that the entire district could live with.
And this to me looked pretty good, Sharon. It met what we were looking for. It just gave them a little bit of flexibility to be individuals. And it also allows them to be comfortable in what they're wearing, whether it be jeans or sweatpants, as well as khakis. Since a big complaint,
you're not going to get the entire district to be comfortable with it, because there's going to be those people who want a dress code and those people who don't. So
well, then they can dress code if they want to.
Pardon?
Then the kids that want to dress in dress code can dress in dress code, and the kids that don't, because now, you have the kids that said, well, I learned just fine in my pajamas at home. Why can't I learn in sweatpants and a t-shirt at school?
Well, I have no problem. I'm just saying you're going to have people who want both, and one or the other. So that's why we even have the policy. I don't care if they wear leggings or
there, because I know when I was a parent, more parents were against dress code than was for dress code. It was more the board that wanted the strict dress code than the parents did, and the students.
If you look at the policy, there's it looks like there's a change every other year,
right?
Because going back and forth for the same reason, yeah.
Because parents never wanted it, students never wanted it, the board always wanted it.
I'm not sure about that.
Before my time, but I do believe we're moving in the right direction based on all the perceptions, as well as the administrative time that we spend sending students back and forth to the office, and in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension, and parents coming to drop off clothes. I think we're going to have much larger opportunities in terms of our students' mental and emotional health as we go back to school. And I don't think that the clothes that they wear, and we're assuming they'll be appropriate, should be, I think we should have a policy, but I don't think that it should be something that we're
and I won't argue,
something that could work against them.
And I won't argue with that at all. It's just that when you do have somebody that doesn't, somebody has to be responsible. Go ahead, Wayne.
1 second. I just want to make sure that there's no interpretation issue. We're all talking about this draft copy, right? Correct?
Yes, these were recommendations, Wayne.
Okay. The only thing that I would like to discuss is we have hooded sweatshirts may be worn. However, they must not cover the head while on school district property. Guys, when they're outside and it's raining, students are going to put their hoods on, and why are we going to have an interpretation nightmare there?
Well, in the buildings.
Huh?
Maybe we should just change it, must not cover the heads while in.
Well, then there needs to be a rewrite on that portion of the draft.
And what about sundresses? Sundresses a lot of times don't have sleeves.
They can't be spaghetti straps.
They can't be what?
Spaghetti straps, like thin straps like your bra.
I think we're getting in the weeds again, but I do think the point about a hoodie, just don't wear a hoodie, in school, wear the hood on in school. But if you go outside and you have a hoodie on that day and it's raining, common sense says put your hood on.
Yes,
So
but
it's like semantically, let's figure out the best investment of time and not be so
anal.
stringent on the word. I don't know, because I could be speaking out of turn.
Oh, I get what you're saying, Sharon.
I know in between I'm going to turn up my volume.
I agree with you, Sharona. It's just the people down on the front lines are the ones where they have to know what they have to do.
Right.
I just think we should just, like you did with outerwear. I mean, obviously a hooded sweatshirt in the fall is outerwear, and it says you can't wear the hoods indoors. I just want to make sure that there's not this is creating an interpretation issue amongst our employees. If I got student athletes outside with a hood, I don't want them being harassed because it's either foul weather or it's cold. You know what I'm saying?
I think over the head is mostly for indoors when they're in class because the kids pull their hoodies up to put their earbuds in. And it's just so we can see that they don't have their earbuds in.
Could I comment, please?
Sure.
The hoodies are a problem on the bus. They can't, they have to put them down once they get on the bus and getting off the bus.
You can see who they are, right?
Huh?
You can identify who the student is.
Yeah, because, if somebody, you could have a student on the bus that's, from a different community or.
Well, hopefully if we adapt the bad swiping, like we're piloting, it'll avoid that from happening.
Right. And then, and typically on the bus, if they got their hoodie up, once you get the kids off, that's usually the seat that's all chopped apart and graffitied or whatever, So, you got to have some verbiage that they can't have the hoodies up on the bus.
Right.
Okay. Should now be worn indoors or on buses.
Hoods have to be down on buses. That's all.
Are we prepared to move forward to policy number 815, acceptable use of communication and information CIS system and AUP? Student parent sign off form. I'm going to it. Were there any changes or was this just up for review?
For review.
Jerome, you had asked for this to come back. We spoke about last month.
Oh, is this the earbuds and all
That
that?
had to do with the students doing the petition that was going around.
And the students have so many complaints around this process, and more so because they are depending on the teacher and it's not consistent. This has become a big interruption in the course of the day. And I know that the students are passionate about it. I'm guilty. I need more time on this, and I want to dig a little bit more to find out what some of the opportunities
like I know
are and what's being perceived.
Have access to the VPN in the school, and now they don't.
This could be more of a problem than the dress code even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they, with tablets and cell phones and you put this with the earbuds, they put the tablets
in order to get cell service, but then they turned off the VPN for the students. So now some of them have cell service, some of them don't. And then some were selling their hotspot to other kids so they can get cell service in the school. Which is more happens at North Sharon than South, but because South you get internet service or data through any carrier, but up at North, it's only Verizon that gets cell service. So if you have AT&T or any other one, you don't get cell service in the building unless you have Verizon. So kids were actually selling their hotspot for $5 for like 5 minutes. So these kids are like making a fortune until their parents found out that they went over their data.
And that's happening on school property. I have a question. What's our responsibility regarding that?
I don't know. They're not supposed to have their cell phones out anyway, so technically it shouldn't matter.
You know they do,
Oh, like I said, technically. Technically.
but they do. So, there again, it doesn't matter, but they do so because it's not being enforced. It goes back to enforcement again.
Correct. I know my daughter got written up last year for having her cell phone fall out of her pocket.
Yeah, I had quite a bit of those.
Yep.
And you know, it's funny because when we think about their generation, quite different from ours. Everybody has it. You know, it's already purchased. They can't live without it. I work on a college campus, and the chances of me seeing a student's face as I'm walking across the campus is slim to none because they're all here. Like, they're not looking up to even, you know, pay attention to the path that they're walking because they're here.
Right.
True.
I just want to think about this.
Right, because I think you're right, Sean, because a lot of this policy is written pre this generation.
Yeah, generation wide. It's a whole
right.
And we have to figure out how we could coexist with them in this space.
Exactly.
Meaning we as administration and teachers and
right.
It's one of the longest policies we have. It's 24 pages.
Right.
So it encompasses so many things.
And I don't know if I would like more time on this, and I apologize. I would have, I thought I had more time, but I would have invested more time because I do know that there are perceptions from our students regarding this policy and what actions have been taken against them as a result of being perceived as being non-compliant.
Correct.
Just to jump in here, it's Brian Borash. I've worked on this policy through my employment with the district for the last 12 years. It's been modified, it's been updated. It is, as George indicated, 24 pages. And the reason it's 24 pages is the amount of items and the vastness that technology has occurred over the last, 12, 15 years. It covers a lot. This is reviewed by a specific lawyer we use that we have on Council for Technology. And there are a lot of items in here that refer to case law. So that's why it's so long. And somebody had referenced VPNs being shut off. The reason VPNs were shut off for students was because they were using the VPN to share pornographic material while at school.
Nice.
Which is in violation of this policy.
Of course, yeah. I guess most of the students, Brian, didn't know why it was turned off. They just were like, oh my God, it got turned off. Not that we can tell them that's why either, but it's sad when one bad apple ruins it for, the bunch.
Right.
Especially up at North, like I said, when they don't have cell service and VPN was the only way for them to have any.
And we're bound by federal law to content filter.
Right.
All content under SIPA, the Children's Internet Protection Act.
Right.
And we do receive federal E-rate funding that subsidizes our internet and wide area network connections. So,
right.
And
Can the VPN block certain sites or certain things?
No, the
Or were they sending it via text message?
It actually gives you
with the
greater access.
the VPN was a way around the content filter and once that was identified, it was blocked.
So can the kids, for example, Brian, up at North, can they log in with their phone to the in-house Wi-Fi then, or they're not allowed to on their phone, just so they can at least text message their parents should they need to or whatever? Especially like for if they have a medical condition or whatever, they're allowed to have their phone. But if they don't have cell service, then the phone does them no good. So would students be able to log into the Wi-Fi, the school Wi-Fi on their phone so they can at least text message?
Students that
Rebecca, didn't you just say that say they weren't supposed to use their phones?
Right, but there's an addendum in here that says if they have a health issue or they're a volunteer fire or ambulance, they are allowed to have it and use it.
And yeah, that opens up a whole other can of worms, but that's
what it says here in the policy.
I know.
So I'm just saying.
I'm not arguing with you.
We've made provisions for that. Any students, there are certain students that may have diabetes. They bring a phone in and they have a real-time monitor that not only alerts the school nurse, but also the parent at home. That's just one instance.
Right.
We haven't run across the issue with volunteer firefighters, but any students that have any type of medical alert system, we do hook their phones up. Aside from that, we do not. We block, from a security standpoint, we block all devices that are not district devices unless requested to do so otherwise. So in order to do that, what you're requesting, if we had to do the high schools, we'd have to enter in 2,500 additional devices that would have to
cost money. We don't want to do that. Okay. I just want to make sure the kids that need to be on can be on, and that looks like they can be. Okay.
Is there a comfort level in approving as is, or would you be interested in spending some more time on this policy?
Spending more time.
Sharon, this policy is already in effect. We were not suggesting any changes from what is there.
It back as a result.
Brought it back just to review.
And it was
not going to change anything, and it is in effect.
So Deborah, you know what? I'd like to bring it back again.
Okay.
That would give us an opportunity to hear from the students, just get some more perspectives. It was a missed opportunity for me in terms of I didn't follow up, I guess, just to take ownership for that.
Okay.
But I would like to. We are at the portion of the meeting where we're asking for public participation. Are there any comments from the public?
I'm looking for hand raisers. I see parents on. I don't know if they have any comments.
I'd like to speak. Can you hear me? It's Maria Hopkins.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, thanks everyone. I just wanted to quickly thank you for your common sense approach to the dress code. It's all that the community has been asking for since it was changed several years ago. And I have faith in you that you'll put in some, the direction about the hoods being worn in appropriate places and any other small changes that need to be made. But this effort is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Any other public comments? There being none, any advisory recommendations?
So 828A29 will appear on the regular board agenda tonight for final approval. We're okay with moving 201 and 233 forward for public review during the month of June, and then those will be on the July agenda.
Perfect.
So we would just need a motion to move 201 and 233 forward.
Correct.
Going to continue working on 221 some more before we move that forward, or
back to policy next month. I'll incorporate that section into policy and take out that one other section where we have photos clothes and pictures of the shirts, that section there, take that old language out.
Right.
And
They
then
can,
go from there.
they can wear shirts with design on them, but just no vulgarities, nothing inappropriate or.
Right, that was on the back page of that where it said inappropriate, right?
Yep.
Okay.
No
So we'll
exposed
bring
undergarments.
221.
And I want that to include not just underwear, but bra straps as well. Undergarments, tops or bottoms, undergarments.
I'm sorry, what was that you wanted to change,
When it
Rebecca?
says undergarments, I want make sure it includes, you know, the bra straps as well as, you know, boxers and underwear.
Ted, maybe just an including but not limited to parenthetical there.
Yes, just because, you know, that'll eliminate this spaghetti strap issue. As long as you don't see your bra straps, then we're good.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Would it be all right if I just recap, Deborah? We are moving forward with approval on 828 and 829, 201 and 223 for public review. And 815, we're gonna
Bring back.
Okay.
220 and 221 will also come back next month for final.
Perfect.
Alrighty. So can we get a motion on moving the two forward, the 201 and 233? From someone? Rebecca, okay. And George, your second?
Yep.
Okay. And then we just need motion to adjourn, I guess.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion that.
I don't think I can.
So move.
Then we got to go log into executive session because it's 5:35.
Yeah, did they vote on the first motion that you got the motions on?
We did
Yes,
not.
Rebecca and George on the first to move 201 and 233 forward. That was Rebecca and George, and then motion to adjourn was Sharon and Wayne, correct?
But they didn't vote, correct?
Correct. We didn't vote.
Okay. Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
can go back.
Okay. So everyone in favor?
Exactly.
That's
sorry?
my,
Aye.
I'd like to make and I don't know if I can, make a motion to move policies 201 and 233 forward. All those in favor?
Aye.
Policy 221, and 815 are coming back for further review at next month's meeting. And policy 828 and policy 829 will be posted for review.
Well,
So 828 and 829.
Add policy 000, right?
Yeah, 000 has to be
We're
redone.
removing that. We already discussed that.
Right, 000 will come back. 828 and 829 are on tonight's regular board agenda for
That's what I
final.
meant for voting.
Okay,
Right.
okay. I just want to be sure
I
you know.
apologize.
Executive
Okay.
session.
It's okay.
Okay. Motion to adjourn then?
Adjourned.
moved.
Okay.
Aye.
All right, bye-bye.
See you in a second.
Okay.